As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Hey, everybody, good morning and welcome to another episode of Zero to Hero. We are on episode 42. We have an awesome guest today. Once I saw our next guest story, I knew that I immediately had to try to bring her onto the show. It's one of medical crisis that turns into a great business opportunity. Her name is Nancy Oliver. She is the owner of Infrared Oasis. So let's go ahead and bring her in. Nancy, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. So before we get started and really get into the thick of things, what is Infrared Oasis? Tell everybody a little bit about what you got going on.
So I own an infrared sauna and I let people come and use it basically. And they can heal from it. That's how I got into it is I healed my bodies where doctors couldn't. They were like, "Oh, you can live with it. You'll be fine." I'm like, "No, I need a better quality of life." And so I just want to give other people that same opportunity where when doctors can't help anymore or they just don't know what else to do, they can relax and feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some of the benefits of the pod? So tell people a little bit about what they can experience with it, why they should come in and check it out.
So when you're here, you sweat a lot. So you're detoxifying your body. There's lymphatic drainage going on. You're losing weight. It the light hits your body and penetrates like up to 3 inches into your body. So it goes to your cells and helps to heal them. So it helps with pain relief, whether it's nerve, joint, or muscle pain. It helps with muscle recovery. Um, it helps with circulation. It increases your metabolism. There's just so many things it helps with. It helps people with fibromyalgia and sciatica pain and arthritis. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you were telling me a little bit about the show. Your pod is a little bit different than some of the pods that people are typically going to come across. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I got my pod kind of aftermarket and the light system had been changed out. So it's not just infrared lights. There's a mix of far infrared, near infrared, and red therapy lights. And then you also get the vibration therapy kind of massage while the bed's vibrating and you're laying on it. So it helps with the whole range of infrared. And there's no UV, so you don't have to worry about all the bad parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got quite a story. I had mentioned to it a little bit in the intro about how you got into this business, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but share what you're comfortable with, what led you to opening up this storefront and letting people use your pod.
It took me a while to be comfortable sharing, and now sometimes my husband tells me that I overshare. So if you feel that I'm oversharing, just be like, nah, that's enough. So I had breast cancer and I had to have a double mastectomy. I had a lump on both sides, good times. I did the double mastectomy, chemo, radiation. I had implants put in. They had to be taken out. I got a second set. They also had to be taken out. And then I couldn't raise my arms over my shoulder. My hands just weren't going. It felt like I had a tourniquet getting tighter every day and it was hard to breathe. I was having phantom chest pains, like I was having a heart attack. And I'm like, there's no muscle there for me to have a pain like that. And it was horrible. My husband, love him to death. He saved my life twice. He's the one that said, you should go to the doctor. I think there's a lump in your breast. I'm like, they're fine. They're just big. And he was like, no, you would need to have that checked out. And sure enough, I was stage 3.
Mm,
And then with all the doctors prescribing me fentanyl, morphine, codeine, promethazine on top of the gabapentin and Lyrica and cancer pills, I was taking like 13 different medications 3 times a day.
Jeez.
There's a couple years, like 2015 to 2018, I don't really remember so much of it. And I'm like, that is recent history. I should know that information.
Right.
And my life was just horrible. And my doctors were just like, oh, you'll learn to live with the pain. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Here, let's put in a pain pump. I know you overdosed accidentally, and my husband saved my life. And I was like, I want to get off the pain medication. And they were like, no, let's put in a pain pump when I was 42. And I'm like, no,
Mm,
that's not the right answer. I need something
right.
better. And then I was at a friend's house trying to reach some potato chips, and I couldn't move my arms. I was like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And one of her friends was like, do you mind if I ask you what's going on? And I told her, and she was like, have you tried infrared therapy? And I was like, I don't know what that is. And she said, well, just look it up, see what you think, and try it out. It might help you with your scar tissue because it helps collagen production. And then she said it also would help with my nerve pain that I got from chemo in my hands and feet. And so I found a Groupon for this pod that was really close to me. And I was like, okay, let's try this out. The first time I got in, I started having a hot flash and freaked out.
Mm,
I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so uncomfortable. What am I going to do? And she was like, if you want to get out, it's fine. You don't have to stay the whole time. And I was like, it's just 15 minutes. I can last. And I ended up getting out. It took me like a week or so to go back. I was like, if it's going to help, it's going to take more than one session. And so after my third session, I noticed I was sleeping better and my hands and feet weren't waking me up as much.
mm.
And then my 6th session, I told her I wanted to get a membership, and she was like, oh, I'm getting rid of it. I was just renting it, and I'm going to start a new business. And I was like, no. And then I was like, oh my gosh, how'd my hand get up there? I
That's so
started
awesome.
crying, and she's looking at me like, do I need to call the ambulance? What's going on here? And I was like, I haven't been able to raise my hand over my shoulders in a year and a half. And I was like, I need this pod. So without talking to my lovely husband, I cashed out my 401k. I bought the pod. Then I told him, as I was saying, so I did this, and do you want some spaghetti for dinner? And he was like, what did you say? I was like, do you want some spaghetti? I can make it. And he was like, no, before that. And I told him, and he was like, well, if that's what you want to do, then, I stand behind you. And then about a week later, I fell and cracked my kneecap
Oh no.
and needed to have a total knee replacement. Luckily, I had not quit my job yet. So I finished out that part. And after rehab and everything, I asked my job for a raise. They were like, no, we're not doing raises. I was like, okay, I got to quit then because I have to make more money. And that was February 2020. So good timing on my part. Because a month later, my husband's looking at me again like, so what's the plan now with no retirement and no job and a pod that you can't even go to because it's been shut down? And I was like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. And luckily, I've had enough clients to keep me busy, or I won't really say busy. I'll say afloat, enough to pay my bills and still have a couple dollars left over. So I've been really thankful for that. And luckily business has been picking up some. So it just makes me feel good when I see other people feel better.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's such a powerful story too, of you believe in it, right? I mean, it's you attribute that to a lot of the things that you're able to do now. So it's clear to see that passion, and that's so amazing. And what an awesome husband. I think if my wife came home and said, hey, I dumped our 401k and I'm going to start a business, I might be a little concerned about that.
Oh,
So
he definitely was.
did you make the spaghetti? Was spaghetti good?
Yes, it was
The
delicious.
spaghetti was
There's
good.
garlic toast and salad.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. So let's, I mean, wow, what an incredible story already. But let's forget about Infrared Oasis for a second. Forget about the business. In a couple sentences, tell us who you are. Who is Nancy Oliver?
Well, I think I am just an empathetic person to people, that I have a big heart and I want other people to just be the best person that they can be. And if I have any part in that, whether it's making their body feel better or just giving them a better attitude because I have a better attitude, then I'm happy to do it.
I love it. I love it. And that positivity definitely breeds positivity, right? So you can come in and get a good treatment and see a smiling face, right? That's happy that you're there. That's so perfect. So tell us, obviously you started a business in the middle of a pandemic, or at the beginning of a pandemic, right? Probably not really knowing all the things that were headed your way in February 2020. But tell us a little bit about the social media journey. How has that helped you out? What's it been like for Infrared Oasis and the social media?
So for social media, before I started my business, I only had Facebook only to see what my kids were doing because they're 29 now. So I wanted to see what they're doing. They don't live at home. And then I was like, oh, I don't really know how to use this. And it was hard at first. I had a couple people that helped me. I had clients that would come in and they're like, you should try this or that. And I'm like, if I give you some free sessions, can you show me how to do this? And it worked out. Luckily, bartering was my friend in the very beginning, and it still is. It got my nails done.
There you
Um,
go.
and I think I'm getting better. I think I don't think, I definitely am getting an actual website together. Before, I was just using Google My Business and Square and doing marketing and stuff through them. But social media to me is hard. Like, I kind of understand SEO and kind of understand that you have to do this on a regular basis, and finding all the information to constantly put new information out there and not just repeat yourself every day or every week is really hard.
Yeah, it does take, it's a lot of time, right? It's a lot of time to put into that, and it is pretty difficult. The one thing that's great about it is free, right? You can get your
Yes.
name out there and you can tell your story, right? Which is how I found you. Was through social media. So you're doing
Yeah.
something right, right? The story's getting out there and it's getting attention, which is really, what social media is for, right? If you take out the social part of it, like Kevin likes to say, our boss likes to say, if you take out the social part of it, it's just media, right? And it's available to you. So that's so awesome that there's been people there that are obviously willing to help you and kind of along that journey and figuring things out. But you're right, it can be difficult, right? Really time consuming for sure. But I'm glad to see you out there and getting your story out there. So that's awesome. Uh, Now, Nancy, every superhero, so obviously the show is called Zero to Hero. We've got some superhero vibes here. So every superhero has a defining moment. What do you think it is for you when it comes to life and career?
For me, I think my defining moment was when my husband had told me that a month and a half ago, before he told me that he cleared my throat when I was choking and completely asleep, and made sure that I was going to be alive and breathing. And that, that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I could have not been here to see my grandkids grow up or see my children thrive. And I don't want that kind of life. I don't want to be a vegetable, and I'm only in my 40s.
Mhm.
So that made me think I have to do something better with my life. I got this tattoo that says, live the life you love and love the life you live. And I was going to a job that I hated, that I had been at for 14 years. And I was like, why did I get this on me and I'm not doing it?
Mm,
It was like a kick in the butt to, okay, live the life you love so you can love the life you live.
that's
And
so powerful. That's a great message too, and something. What a great reminder to look at every day, right? I think a lot of us do get a little bit too caught up in just living life, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the life that you love, but just making it, So that is a powerful reminder. And it's one thing to put that on your body in a tattoo. It's another thing to truly go and live that, right? And say, no, this is what I'm doing now. So that's wow. What a powerful moment, and sometimes it takes that kind of that bottom to get there, but
I think if I still wasn't on some of the pain medication, I may not have had the nerves to just jump in and do it. But I think because it was messing up my mind, so I couldn't think clearly, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try it out. And luckily it's turned out to work.
it's working out so far. Yeah, everything happens for a reason, right? And exactly
Yeah.
when it's supposed to. That's incredible. Wow. So Nancy, to you, obviously all heroes have attributes, right? Especially superheroes, right? There's powers, there's different things that they have. What attributes to you define a hero in your world?
To me, a hero is someone that can put themselves aside and step up to help someone else when they're in a time of need. Someone that can look past all the bad things and say, you really need me now. Let me help you. Whether it be someone homeless on the street or someone that's getting abused by their spouse, and you're having a rough day and you see that, a hero to me is somebody that's like, okay, I know my car won't start today and I'm in the middle of a parking lot, but I see this happening over here. I need to help them. To me, that's what a hero is.
Selflessness and humility. It sounded
Yes.
like the two things that I took from that. Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Now, if you had to pick a superhero that best relates to you, right? Best relates to Nancy, who would that be and why?
It would have to be my husband.
Mm.
For all the reasons I've already said. He's saved my life twice. He cares about me when I'm not necessarily caring about myself. And when he's having a bad day at work, he's just like, no, I need to make sure that you have yourself together and we're going to live this long life together. We've been together for 20 years now and
Wow.
we don't argue. We're just like, oh yeah, sure. That works out. And I think the biggest thing that we have the most trouble with is finding out what's for dinner. Like, what do you want? No, what do you want? No, it's your turn to pick. No, it's your turn. That's our biggest trouble. And I feel like if that's our biggest trouble, we're always going to be together.
That is awesome.
I
That is
just
awesome.
stuff without him.
It sounds like, yeah, he's been the rock for you through the entire process, and I'm sure you're the same for him, which is fantastic as well. A little recommendation on the food, maybe get a little board to spin it. Yeah. Mexican pizza, right? Let the board pick for you. That's awesome.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So Nancy, how can people keep up with you? How can people get in touch with Infrared Oasis? What are the social channels? What's the website? Go ahead and throw everything out there.
So my Instagram is Infrared Oasis. My Facebook is Infrared Oasis Overland Park. I'm hoping that my website will be infraredoasis.com, I believe. But we're still working on that. My phone number, which I do a lot of scheduling through, is 913-271-9740. You can call me, text me. I'm happy to answer any questions. And if I don't know the exact answer, I'm happy to do all the research and get back to you.
That's awesome. And when you call, you're gonna get Nancy, right? She's
Yes,
there.
you are.
She's
It's
running the
me.
show there. So
When you
absolutely
come
give
for
her.
your appointment, you're going to get me.
Absolutely, which is perfect. People love seeing the face that they know, right? So give Nancy a call, get out there, schedule an appointment. If you haven't checked out Red Light Therapy, I would highly recommend that you do. There's some great health benefits there, some good detoxification, especially wintertime. I know everybody's sitting around, right? Get out there, get some light in your body, feel better about it. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Nancy, thank you for coming on the show. You were an awesome guest.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.